This is Brand Impact 365 with LaMorvielle. Let's talk today about something that I know happens to all of us. I know it's happened to me before many times, so I can only imagine how many of you have also experienced this issue. The issue is mental block, right? It's when you're trying to focus on something that you need to get done, something that's important to you. You just want to focus on it, accomplish it, get the task done and move on with your life. But for some reason, you just cannot focus. You can't think. Everything in your brain is just like, it's just, yeah, it's blocked. Okay. They call it a mental block. Sometimes if you're writing a book, they call it writer's block, right? It's just when you cannot think. It's just very hard for you to form ideas, very hard for you to create concepts in your mind, or if you have a problem, it's hard for you to think of a solution. Now, this actually happened to me the other day. I'm actually in the process, as you know, of creating these impact brands where, again, I'm working on my personal brand, which you see, and I'm also working on my business brands as well. And I am trying to come up with a concept of what to offer because I've got a lot of insight, a lot of information. But when it comes to if someone was to ask me or say to me, what is that one thing that you do? It's been very hard for me just to pinpoint it because I'm so good at so many things that it's hard for me to narrow it down or just say, this is what I do. So I've been trying to, as far as from a business brand perspective, you have to really narrow it down and have a focus of what it is that you do, your service in the world, what you're offering to your customers, your clients, things like that. So if you don't have focus, if you don't have an idea or generalization as to what it is you're offering to your customers, to the world, to your community, whoever, you're probably not going to be in business very long. So I've been trying my best to figure out what it is I do. And for a good while, I had like this block. It was like, I just can't think of anything else than what I've already thought of. I was like almost like a hamster in a hamster wheel, right? The only ideas that kept coming up to me were the same ones over and over and over. I just kept going around in circles over and over, and I couldn't get out of it. And I had to, one day I just realized, okay, I have a problem. I have a big problem. My problem is I can't think. I can't focus. And then I had to try to understand why I couldn't focus, right? If you can't do something, if there's a problem, instead of trying to put a band-aid on it and just keep moving forward, you really want to figure out a solution to the problem so it doesn't happen again, right? Am I right? At least that's in theory. Most people don't do that, but in theory, your goal is if you have a problem, you need to find a solution and focus on the solution so you don't have the problem anymore. So I start thinking about what it is that is blocking my mental thoughts. What is blocking me from focusing? And I start looking around and I notice that my workspace was super, super cluttered. I have papers all over my desk. I have books on the shelves that aren't put away. I have a reselling business, so I have items that need to take photos to put in my store, just laying around all over the place. It was just I had a lot of different projects around me just laid out. And because of that, I realized that was what was blocking my thought process. Let me explain. Okay. On a subconscious level, your brain will work in a clear or clean environment, right? If you are trying to focus on something, right, you want to focus on that one thing. You just want to have space in your brain to focus on that one thing. However, on a subconscious level, if you're trying to focus on one thing, even though on a conscious level you want to focus on that one thing, subconsciously your brain is looking at all the other things in the room that are just laid out that need to be fixed But because you're not focused on it right now, um, you're not thinking about it on the surface, but your brain is. Subconsciously, your brain is remembering that, oh, I have to do this, I've got to do that, I remember I got to take that out the oven, I've got to do the laundry, I've got to make sure that that book is put away when I got to read the book, I didn't even read the book. Like, there's so many things that your brain is subconsciously thinking about doing. And then your environment, if you're in a cluttered space, it's just pretty much reaffirming your brain that there's a lot of things to do. So because of that, your mental capacity isn't focused on that one thing that you think you're focusing on. It's actually focusing on all the little things that pretty much you need to clean up, you need to fix, right? So here is a solution. If you notice that your workspace, or if you notice that you are having mental block, it's hard for you to focus or think, and you realize, now that I've pointed it out, that it has to do with your environment, right? Let me tell you some things that can help, right? So your environment might be cluttered physically, or it could be cluttered audibly, right? Where you have noise pollution, right? There's a lot of noises around you. Maybe you work in a very busy office environment where there's a lot of people talking very loudly, and because of that, you can't focus. Or maybe, again, it might be a physical clutter, where you've got, or physical, pollution, where you've got things all over your work area, things that you are, little projects that you have to get done that you haven't got done, but you need to focus on something else at the moment. Just little little distractions. There we go. They're little distractions. And we need to find a way to minimize those distractions to help you focus a little bit better. So these are some things that I've put into practice since realizing that my environment definitely plays a role in how I think. All right. You ready for this? Because it's super easy to do. It's just putting it into practice. That's the hard part. The easy part is what to do. It's just realizing when you're in this space of that mental block, because we don't always recognize that that's the problem. So now that I'm pointing it out, maybe it's a little bit easier for you to recognize you've got this mental block, okay? And then this is what I suggest that you should do. If you have an environment where there's a lot of noise pollution, or there's a lot of physical pollution where, again, you've got a lot of clutter on your desk, or there's just a lot of just stuff around you, and you just, you just, it's hard to think that way. One thing that you can do is just reduce the pollution, right? Maybe you're in an office space where, again, you've got a lot of people in your office and they're talking, 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 talking. Maybe it's just closing your door. Maybe if you have a door, you can close the door, reduce some of that noise. If it's something where, again, you've got a lot of cluttered things in your area, maybe it's you need to just clean, get organized, put the papers where they need to go, file them away in the file cabinet, put the books away, clear up the desk. If it's a personal thing, we're talking about professional, but on a personal level too, sometimes we just can't focus in our day to day because we just got so much on our brain, right? It could just be go to your bedroom. I know I'm very guilty of this, where I am, I I end my day. I'm pretty tired from doing all the work I have to do throughout the day. And then at the end of the day, I get in my bedroom and what? Kick off my shoes, throw my purse over there. I throw my clothes over there. It's in the corner. And then I forget about it until laundry day. And then it's like, oh, I got to hurry up and clean up everything. Okay. Maybe it's just going into your bedroom and cleaning up all the clothes, or cleaning up the things that you didn't get a chance to put away yet. Right. Maybe it's the kids' toys, which I know, I know that's the whole thing, right? It's like as soon as you clean up the kids' toys, it's like, how did they get right? Didn't I just clean this up? How did they get back out of here? So I get it, but maybe it's just getting on a routine of when to clean up, so that way you do it once in the daytime, you know it's done, you don't have to think about it again until the next time you're doing it. For example, for me, every morning, literally every morning, I sweep, I mop, I just make sure that I refresh the house, so that way when I'm ready to relax later, it's like, okay, I can chill. But I start off the day with just cleaning. It gives me a good vibe as far as mental space, because while I'm cleaning, I start thinking about what I want to accomplish during the day. Not everybody does that. Some people work out. Some people meditate, which I also do both, but not in the morning. So it's everybody has their own routine, but you just got to again find the time or figure out a way to incorporate a time where you're actually organizing. Another good time that I do is every Sunday. I actually sit down and I review what I've done from the week before. And then I also review what I want to get accomplished for the week ahead. And at that time, that's when I'm organizing all my paperwork, things like that. Sometimes I get behind. But for the most part, again, that's what I try to do, organize all those things. So that way it reduces some of those distractions, because again, the way my brain works, I'm always trying to figure out ways to, I got to fix this, and then I'll move on to the next thing before I finish the last project, which I'm pretty sure, many of you kind of fall in the same trap too, right? So that's the first thing. Just organize. Just clear out your space. Okay. Again, if it's noise pollution, there's a lot of noise around you, then I would suggest try to find a way to reduce the noise. I don't know if you're allowed to, but there are some businesses, some companies that allow you to listen to headphones or music while you're working. So maybe it's just popping those, earbuds while you're at your workstation typing away, so that way you're not getting distracted by all the other noises around you. Another thing that I like to do is actually take myself outside of my environment and put myself in another one, right? So that might be, instead of working in my home office, which I have all this clutter, and it might be that I can't clean it up right now because I'm working on multiple projects at a time. Instead of trying to sit in that clutter and still work and think, I will remove myself from there. And why not go work at like a coffee shop, like Starbucks, or go to the library? Another good place that you can work is Barnes and Nobles. You're surrounded by books. It's really quiet. You have like those little desk areas, tables and chairs. You can sit there, maybe do, work on your laptop. Starbucks, like I said, is a really good one as well. Or the library. Or if you've got a hotspot on your phone, or there's like usually in a lot of the cities in the United States, at least, if you go into the downtown area of the city, you can actually tap into the downtown Wi-Fi feed. And usually downtown there's a park, right? Usually. I'm pretty sure most downtowns, they have some type of city park. Go ahead, go to that park or somewhere downtown where it's like you get a little bit of refreshment, refresh in your environment, and you can pop those earbuds and just, tune out to nature while you're sitting in the park, right? I enjoy that very much. It's nothing like having your laptop, you have some music playing in the background in your ears, but then you're surrounded by trees and birds and just the sunshine and the breeze. It's a very nice, relaxing, calm environment, and I highly suggest it, especially if you are having problems with that mental block, right? So these are just some things I would suggest to you. Again, if you're noticing that you're having some issues with how you are thinking, how you are focusing, then either try to organize your space, try to reduce some of that pollution, noise pollution, or some of that clutter. Or again, tap into another environment where it's easier for you to focus. Like even with writers, that's why some writers, they'll go to a cabin in the woods somewhere and go write their book, or they'll go on vacation somewhere far away from people. They'll turn their phones off and they'll just write, right? It's to minimize the distractions so that they can focus. So take in consideration those things, and hopefully next time that you are having these mental blocks and it's hard for you to focus, you can remember these little strategies, very little simple strategies, to help you unblock your mind, so that way you can focus, be more productive, and get what you need to get done. All right. I appreciate you, friend. You know I do. Thank you so much for your support. Till next time, stay bright, stay beautiful, and keep on smiling. Later, Gator. Thanks for watching. If you are interested in having an interview or sponsoring the show, then check the description below. If you enjoyed this episode, then like and subscribe to support Brand Impact 365 with LaMorvielle. And if you are struggling with your brand impact, then watch the next video.